Hier lees hy nou gestrek oor die helfte van die lig. Nou, as mens in Frans sê, la voici qui gît. Nou, daai is iets wat blijkbaar op grafstene kom. So, hier lees so en so wat nou afgestorwe is. Tendu est la peau sur la boîte de résonance du vent, qui sculpte les esprits du sommeil. Et le tambour est prêt, lorsque se couronnent de glaïeuls les cornes du veau délivré, qui bondit et broute les herbes des collines.
Mag die bome groen bly en die sterre fit, que les arbres restent toujours verts et les étoiles blanches. En mag daar altyd mense wees wat mekaar sonder skaamte in die oë kan kyk.
Eers oor die bergtop loer sy skelm en haar oë skaam en sy lag saggies.
I always had the sense that we need to tell the story of the making of this. It was, in fact, Vicky Davis, my program manager, said, you have to immediately commission a documentary about the making of the album. In the early 2000s, I was involved in sort of facilitating the political transition in South Africa. I worked with an organization called IDASA, Institute for Democratic Alternative in South Africa. And part of my job was to facilitate the local political negotiations about the establishment of the city of Cape Town. And the first post-apartheid mayor of Cape Town was a person called Nomainde Mfeketu. She asked me to come up with a proposal on how to deal with the old city hall opposite the Grand Parade in Cape Town. We then came with a fantastic proposal to create a music academy there. Unfortunately, politics changed. Many years later, I was with my friend Albert Geldnys, and I told him the sad story of how my idea of almost 2 decades ago of the Cape Town Music Academy never got off the ground. And then Albert said to me, well, talk to me, make a proposal, I know people who may be interested in this. We needed a flagship project to start, to showcase the Academy. And my travels in Africa, my sense about the continent and its people and all of that, gave me this idea of a longing for Africa.
Ek het onlangs 'n klomp Franse gedigte uit Afrika ontdek. En toe kruis my pad met hierdie wonderlike musikante. En nou is ek baie bewus van grense waarteen 'n mens jou kan vasloop.
I had done some work with Lorinda Hofmeyer in 2015. She released a previous album called Wat Ek Wou Sê, What I Wanted to Say, which was, I think, lifted from a Toast Kutzer poem. I brought Lorinda to play here in this building, 155 Loop Street, at the Alliance Française du Cap, and we created one evening that we called an evening of Afrikaans at the Alliance.
Oor 'n tydperk van 18 maande het ek so 3 keer by die Alliance in die Kaap opgetree. En elke keer het ek Frans gepraat, om nou die gehoor te beïndruk.
When I look at some of her compositions of Breitenbach, Sheila Cassens, Baron Turin, these are Afrikaans poets that she's worked with who all speak about a sense of longing back.
Hy het gesê hy hou van my gedigte wat van verlange spreek. Dit is gewoonlik geskryf deur digters wat daai tyd in die buiteland was. En daai gedigte het vir my melankolie en 'n verlange gehad.
I often find myself in a big boardroom in Nairobi or in Kigali or in Accra or wherever, where I take enormous pride and pleasure in introducing myself to my professional colleagues as I greet them as fellow Africans. And I suppose as a white African, you already live with a kind of a dissonance, people look at you kind of strangely, So it's always been that sense of, the place that I'm from, the place that I belong, and a kind of a tension between that. And then I suppose, more in terms of my work, understanding urbanization, which is the big trend in Africa, people are moving into cities. In the next decade or so, more than half of the African continent's population will be living in cities. And also what comes with movement to cities is a different form of opportunity, but also of different forms of displacement. And in a way, the story of Afrique, Désir and how it all came together plays out that new form of exclusion in a way.
I came here, I wanted to study and also have more professional experiences and everything. And home is always home. Whatever happens there, whether the conditions are different or something, but there is a part of it that you will always miss, and that I really do miss sometimes the Congo and everything.
Yeah, I miss Congo because, I left my 2 kids in Congo. I left my family. Dans een familie, I'm alone.
Toe sê hy, ek wil hê jy moet Frans sprekende gedigte toonsit en die titel van die produksie sal wees Afrika my verlange.
So the Cape Town Music Academy bought the idea of using Afrique mon Désir, Afrika my verlange, as their flagship project.
Voici venu le temps de renoncer à l'aveuglement. Voici venu le temps de renoncer à jeter la première pierre. La haine qui traverse le corps. La haine qui traverse le corps. La haine qui traverse le corps.
This was an academic exploration of poetry, so this was not the touristy mask and drum sort of approach. For me, Lorinda is also just the interactive way I think everybody on this project has worked. When she, through Catherine, discovered the work of Jean-Joseph Rabia-Rivelo of Madagascar, I think those were the first works that really spoke to her heart.
Verskillende universiteite in Suid-Afrika was besig om vertalings in Afrikaans en Engels van sy gedigte te doen. So ek het sommer 4 Rabia-Rivelos gedoen aan die begin. En daar is nog heel wat ek sal wou doen.
Vir my is een van die wonderlikste digters in hierdie projek Jean-Joseph Rabia-Rivelo van Madagaskar. Wat in sy poësie 'n geweldige interessante ontwikkeling gehad het. Dit is iemand wat intens bewus was van wie hy was as deel van Afrika met 'n voet in 'n Europese koloniale geskiedenis. En sy poësie het ook so ontwikkel dat hy aan die begin in 'n eerste tipe van periode op 'n manier geskryf het soos Franse digters van die tydperk, en ons praat hier van die 1920s. Geskryf het. In 'n tweede periode het hy in Frans en in Malgassies geskryf en sy gedigte aangepas by die ritme, by die tonaliteit van Madagaskar en by tradisionele poësie in Madagaskar. En in 'n derde beweging het hy nog steeds in Frans geskryf, maar as jy die gedigte lees, dan voel dit of jy 'n ander taal lees, want hy het absoluut Malgassiese ritmes en Malgassiese type gedigte en styl en inhoud gebruik.
Tu verras la lune tomber dans un trou et tu t'y verras toi-même lumineux et silencieux. Ce qui se passe sur la terre, on a dit lointain. Penche-toi près d'une
gedink ook wil van daai land 'n digter hê van daai land en van daai land nie. Ons het die beste digters gevind wat sy geken het.
Ek dink wat vir my die meeste geweeg het by die keuse van die digters, natuurlik is ek beperk deur my eie beperkte kennis van Afrika literkunde, maar dit was in die eerste plek om gedigte te kies wat liries is, gedigte wat 'n natuurlike liriese kwaliteit het wat hom tot musiek leen. En daarmee het jy 'n wye verskeidenheid digters gekry uit verskillende lande, uit verskillende periodes ook, soos Nimrod Bena van Chad, Veronique Tadjo van Côte d'Ivoire, Patrice Nganang van Cameroen.
Veronique Tadjo is van die Voorkus. Sy sê, nou is die uur van beskuldigings.
Voici venue l'heure des récriminations. 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 Dans l'obscurité de nos rêves, il sera difficile de retenir la colère, la colère. Dans l'obscurité de nos rêves.
Was ek baie huiwerig om dit te doen, omdat ek nie seker was dat ek wat nie 'n eerste taal Frans sprekende is nie, die vrymoedigheid kan vat om musiek by iets te sit terwyl ek so kieskeurig is oor hoe ek 'n Afrikaanse gedig doen en ek weet dit is afhanklik van hoe presies ek al die subtiliteite verstaan. Ek doen dit nie sommer net luk raak nie.
So sy wou nie net verstaan wat die gedig sê nie, sy wou letterlik elke woord begryp en verstaan waarom sekere woorde gekies is.
Hoe meer ek Katherine de Tooy my gehelp het in dit ingegrawe het, hoe meer het elke woord 'n kleur en 'n tekstuur begin kry. Gedigte van Franse digters uit Afrika is wat ek regtig as ek die gedigte in enige taal, veral Afrikaans ook, sou lees, dan sou ek dit ook wou toonset. Dit praat met my op hierdie tyd in my lewe. En daarvoor is ek baie dankbaar vir Katherine.
Poulpes dans leur fuite noircissent le sable avec leur bave épaisse.
I really wondered how we could make something that's authentic. We had to find that talent, and that was vital to the success. We were just really fortunate when we discovered all these great singers and instrumentalists so quickly with the help of the Alliance Française.
You know, when Nico spoke to me about this project, and his wish is to find a Congolese artist in Cape Town, so I organized my communication through the Alliance Française, and I put a message on Facebook.
We were being given on a plate all these fantastic talents that are living in Cape Town, people from the DRC and from other places in Africa. And on the very first edition, we just found a team of people.
For me, Afrique, mon désir is the real cultural diversity, you know, through languages, music, and it's like a pot, melting pot.
Wat vir my besonder lekker is van hierdie projek is dat dit my in aanraking gebring het met 'n ander deel van Afrika. Hierdie projek het my in aanraking gebring met gedigte uit daai ander deel en ook mense uit die ander deel.
Aside for interior design, I'm, I like music, which I do, it's the reason why you're here. And also I'm a painter, I'm a fashion designer, I'm a model, and I'm a voice artist, French and English. I was performing since I was 3 or 4 in school, you know, school plays. Then when I was about 9 or 10, We had my best friends, my two best friends and I, we had like a group, like a little band of us, and we were singing at churches and everything. I was invited to an event at the Alliance Française. It was when Papa Wemba, one of our biggest singers in Congo, died. So some Congolese people based in Cape Town organized like an event like for his memory. Then a friend invited me just to fit in because somebody else couldn't come. She asked me if I could do something, and she didn't know I could sing. So I told her I could actually sing. So then I said I'm gonna learn the words quickly, but I need to sing with people. Then she told me there is a group of professional singers there, and they know all Papa Wemba songs, and you can sing with them. So that's when I met Yoshi, Malako, and Patrick.
Papa Wemba is a big star of Congo, a musician. He's like our grandfather for music. So he was passed away. There was memory service in Loop Street. And I was sitting with my friend Malako. That one is like my twins.
I'm now 13 years here in South Africa. I'm coming from Congo, DRC, Kinshasa. Because of this opportunity we have with Nico and Lorinda, that is showing we have a really opportunity here in South Africa.
Now it's 12 years I've been here in South Africa. If I'm not in music, I'm here, barber shop. This is the wood. Angola. You free here, nothing gonna happen here. It's Makaskavi. You know Makaskavi, Mos? He's the biggest test guy, man. He's from Jamaica, he fights for rights. They give this place his name.
We wanted to stay true to Lorinda's identity, and we wanted to have the musicians and the singers that came in to stay true to their identity, which could lead to a bit of a clashing of cultures.
You could also do a thing where
There's not even a common language. Music was the one language that got us all together.
Vir my is hierdie 'n viering van verskeidenheid, maar tog saam met musiek. Ek dink dis wat die hele wêreld nodig het. En spesifieke tale wat so ingeweef word van Afrikaans wat in die konteks van al die ander tale gehoor word, is vir my wonderlik. Dit is soof ons is hier in Afrika, Afrikaans, jy weet. Ek dink dit is Lingala, Chiluba, Kikongo, Swahili en dan Frans en Afrikaans.
En daar is so baie invloede van verskillende plekke in die sinergie hoe alles bymekaar kom en bymekaar werk in die verskillende tale. En ek dink dit is baie spesiaal in daai opsig en uniek. Alhoewel mens nie noodwendig altyd die taal kan verstaan as iemand in Frans sing of so nie, kan jy tog agterkom wat die gevoel agter dit is.
Ek werk as ek 'n serie gewoonlik opgeneem het ek gewerk amper 'n bietjie klassiekerig as ek wil mense inkom. Elkeen doen sy eie ding op sy instrument, maar sê net maar as sangers, dan sou ek dikwels harmonieë uitgeskryf het van wat ek sou wou gehad het daar moet gebeur. Terwyl met die musikante van die Kongo was dit glad nie moontlik nie, want hulle doen dit net intuïtief. En ook jy kan nie sê onthou daai noot wil ek daai eintlik nie, dit gebeur net. So ons het die proses aangepas daarbij. Ons het laat hulle klomp takes vir ons gee en dan het ons half cut and paste, Jurgen en Skalk het dit gedoen.
As hulle agter 'n mic in klim, ons rekord alles. Nou op die einde van die dag gaan Siffie maar deur, dan kom jy agter baie keer van die eerste goed hulle gedoen het was eintlik die beste. Wat hulle net eerlik en spontaan was.
Ons het probeer om die inhoud van die gedig te verduidelik en dan te sê, okay, hoe sou julle dit beskryf? Of Skalk sê, weet jy wat, as mens hierdie koortjie kon doen en hy sing 'n wysie, as julle in Lingala of wat ek taal ook al, kan julle iets van hierdie gedig se betekenis sing, maar wat in daai koor kan inpas. En dan het hulle dit so goed gedoen. En ek dink dit was spesifiek nogal vir hulle lekker ook en ek dink dit is wat daai fusion gevoel gee van die twee wat bymekaar kom.
It was really amazing experience. Rena would explain to us, this is what it means, this is the French part is okay, some Afrikaans part she would explain to us. So, and we would just brainstorm together and find ideas with the guys and just write down and we start singing and also Skalk, he's a really good director. He will like try to bring some African flavor to that.
Die ding van hierdie hele proses is dat ek so kon ontspan en net fokus op wat ek doen. Van daar af wat Skalk dit, ek kan nie heeltemal ontspan. Hy ken my, hy weet presies. Ek hoef nie te verduidelik nie. Hy weet wat met my aangaan en hy kan 'n ding vat tot waar ek die visie, tot waar ek dit sien. En 'n paar keer het hy ook verby die verwerkingsproses gegaan en hy het komposisie-elemente bygevoeg.
Op die einde van die dag het 'n skip 'n kaptein nodig. En Skalk is 'n baie goeie kaptein om 'n ding baie mooi. Jy moet 'n visie hê, jy moet weet waartoe gaan jy voordat jy jou reis aanpak. So as jy en ek dink hy het goed gedefinieer waartoe hierdie ding moet gaan. Daar's baie chaos om dit, maar dan moet iemand wees om te sê daai boot se neus ons moet nog koers hou.
Hy vat eienaarskap. Dis sy projek. En vir my is dit natuurlik fantasties. En dit is 'n baie unieke samewerking. En ek wou hierdie keer net sê nou maar een keer vermoor, terwyl vorige proses is gewoonlik so 7 keer, jy weet. Nee.
So in that sense, I think Lorena and I have walked such a long path of steering each other into all sorts of creative nooks and crannies, and I think we've grown a lot as musicians together. Obviously, being a bass player, the rhythm is everything. And then that relates back to the poem, you know, which has an inherent rhythm, and the big trick is to find the marriage between these two things.
Dit is my wonderlike ding van wording. So ek kom met die tekste wat ek ken na Lorinda toe. Ek gee vir haar alles wat ek daarvan weet, wat dit in my geroer het. Sy neem dit weer en met dit wat deel is van haar lewe, met dit wat sy deurgemaak het, met dit wat sy ken, met dit wat sy nie aangeleer het, want sy het baie gaan luister na musiek van hierdie verskillende lande, skep sy iets anders. Dan kom hierdie nuwe musikante by. Hulle vat wat hulle daaruit verstaan en hulle sit hulle eie tekstuur by. En dan kom Dick Grobler met sy animasie. Hy luister na dit alles. Hy verstaan dit weer op 'n ander manier en hy sit sy ongelooflike animasies by.
So ons was nog besig om die toonsettings te doen toe Dick al moes begin met die animasie. So dit was nogal dink ek moeilik vir hom. Ons is net so voor hom geweest.
Bringing Dick Grobler on board, I always had the sense, because we're working in different languages now, that you needed to create a common backdrop. And the nearest to this that I had experienced as a member of an audience was when William Kentridge's work was used. And I just thought that, you know, that could have, you know, the common ground you can create through a visual backdrop would be fantastic.
In die totale ontwerp van die projek is dit vir my belangrik om 'n balans te vind. So party van die gedigte se films is baie meer intensief en dan is daar party wat weer stiller is. Ek probeer altyd, wanneer ek met gedigte werk, probeer ek om iets by te sit. Animasie en poësie is nogal, daar's baie ooreenkomste. In animasieteorie is daar baie mense wat na lewende aksie vergelyking trek met prosa en poësie met animasie, want soos in poësie gaan haal jy spesifieke woorde en jy soek vir die onvervangbare woord en jy kondenseer die taal tot sy essensie of die idee tot sy essensie en jy doen dieselfde met animasie omdat jy die film rampie vir rampie maak. Die film bestaan basies uit 'n klomp gesigte wat flash op die skerm.
Bacana e
The competence for me, the initial competence, was the well-established musical combination between Lorinda, Skulk, and Kevin Gibson, percussionist and drummer.
I need to work with drummers that are sensitive, has got incredible timing, and who can also interpret music beyond just marking out meter. And Kevin is one of those rare breeds. He makes the process so easy. He's the secret weapon on most productions that I work on.
The influences for me was what the song was about, and taking some instruction from Skulk and Lorinda about what the final thing would be, just how, on the size of it, the musical size of it. So, obviously, if I just hear piano and voice, and that's going to be the end of it, I'm going to try and worm out of playing anything on the drum kit. So I've got to trust that they know what's going to happen at the end, and just go for it.
For me, the most incredible part of this journey was having the opportunity to work with the great Désir Gazavo. It was almost unbelievable when we heard that he was willing to be on board.
One morning, I just had this idea. I phoned Christian, and I said, why don't we get Regis to sit in on the album, And he said, great idea, as he would normally do. And within an hour, he phoned me back to say, I've booked Regis on a plane, he's coming.
He had a very rare talent that I've not encountered in many musicians. It's so natural what comes out of his mouth and out of his accordion.
That is a big artist, very big artist, because what he did there, me, myself, I didn't believe. He make a lot of myself. I ask the accordion play like guitar sometime.
En dit was so besonder, want hy was regtig as mens, as akkordeonspeler was hy net iets wat ek nog nie gesien het nie. En as mens was hy presies wat ek ook nodig gehad het. Die ding wat ek onthou is, hy het net gesê hy speel uit die hart uit, soort van warts and all. En dis op 'n stadium in my lewe waar mens moet nou begin vrede maak met jou eie tekortkominge en so.
But the things I learned to Regis is also such a quiet guy, and I just learned small things from him to be simple. You see, as Congolese, we are musicians, but we don't like to be like simple, you see. Like you see me simple, wearing a shirt and a shorty and what I'm walking now. I still like to be there. You see how I would dress myself most. Say, Yochi Yamamoto, this one. Yeah, we like to be, But Regis made me to learn something, to be simple. Like, you can't believe this is Regis if he didn't tell you.
We had a wonderful evening of live music with all of the musicians participating in the album, playing with Regis. It was a very, very special moment. And as he left, we said to him, Regis, we're going to book you for the month of June 2018 when we're bringing this production to Europe. And he said, I'll clear my diary. Sadly, he passed away while performing live on the island of Corsica. I always saw this as an album first, a CD, a musical album recorded. I always saw this as a stage production. And I think this is a wonderful thing about this, the creative side of this, is that nobody owned anything. You know, I think everybody added. And later on, David Kramer as the stage director.
My feeling was, as a director, you know, the show needs to entertain an audience as well. It's not only about the poetry and the imagery. My job was to find a way of combining it so that it works as an evening of entertainment. There are fairly varied elements that have to be brought together. I have to also highlight the strengths of the musicians. And then you have Dia, who is a beautiful singer, but she's a very quiet performer. So I've tried not to change her style and just give her things to do that are fairly, you know, still.
With David Kramer, he also taught us so much, even myself, because I'm not a professional singer. I mean, not before, maybe now I can call myself one. So like he even taught us how to be confident.
You have Lorinda, who, you know, has a very sort of sensitive approach. And then you have Malaku and Yoshi, who have a very exuberant approach. So you've got to keep them down, and then bring them out when necessary. And then you also have to have Lorinda connecting to the audience. When you add an audience, of course, it heightens the level of performance for the singers and musicians. They come out with much more adrenaline. The push from the stage is much harder than you would have heard.
Dan kry jy nog 'n verdere wisselwerking wanneer jy die gehoor bysit en wanneer dinge lewendig voorgedra word, want dit raak ook 'n gesprek, dit raak ook 'n wisselwerking. En op die ou end is jy so ver verwyder van die klein oorspronklike skepping van 'n digter alleen iewers in sy hut of sy kleihuis of sy woonstel of wat ook al wat hierdie gedig geskep het in 'n spesifieke omstandigheid. So dit is my net 'n wonderlike proses. Die dinge is heeltyd besig om te lewe. Na gedigte wat ook iets anders sê van Afrika vandag. So Veronique Tadjo van Côte d'Ivoire, 'n gedig wat sy geskryf het, 'n kort gedig wat deel is van 'n siklus waarin sy sê voici venu l'heure des récriminations. Nou is die tyd om eise te stel. Dis 'n tyd van uitdagings en dit het vir my verband gehou met al die oproer en al die ongelukkigheid. So dit was eintlik vir my 'n oomblik van stilstand wat 'n mens net moet tussen al hierdie hinkering, die mooi idees van Afrika, die Afrika wat ons liefhet, ook Afrika met sy probleme.
Daar's ander terugslae soos die papiere van die musikante van die Kongo wat nou nie uitgesorteer kan word nie. Dit is nou al lank, jy weet, van laas jaar af wat ons dit probeer regkry. En die sisteme werk net nie uit nie en dit nou gebeur die ergste, hulle kan nie gaan nie, Frankryk toe nie.
We had to get the guys on refugee status. Two of them didn't have any status at all. It's been a horrible process.
Because here you're stuck. So you can't go home, you can't travel anywhere else because you need your passport.
Unfortunately, you know, time-wise, we just couldn't get it early enough of the guys to travel along to France, which is a major disappointment.
Yeah, I was very disappointed by that because I play. I make my own energy inside me. I don't person go play in my place.
So when this problem about visa came, I had to find other people in France.
And finally, French, Afrikaans, Lingala, they're all languages spoken on the African continent. And they've come together through music now, thanks to South African musician Lorinda Hofmeyer and the Afrique Désir ensemble.
J'accueille à bras ouverts et avec tout mon cœur la troupe Afrique, mon désir ensemble et Lorinda of Mer. I live in Paris, but I come from Congo, Kinshasa.
Wie ons ook nou in Frankryk gaan kry en die ou wat ons nou net bykry van Suid-Afrika ook. Dit alles is weer 'n nuwe opwinding, dit gaan weer nuwe plekke.
I'm originally from the DR Congo, but based in South Africa. And it's been an amazing experience of me meeting the Afrique Mon Désir ensemble with Lorinda. I'm going to perform one of my originally as well in the middle of the show. And that song is called Amisowe.
We didn't come here to try and replace the musicians that could not travel with us. We tried to really find musicians that would bring their own unique contribution.
And I got inspired from Cameroonian music, the Makossa, and I tried to combine Makossa music and Congo music, and so that combination, that's what made actually the style of the song. And the song, it's a celebrating song, I would say. It's just about celebration, so we're just gonna celebrate, enjoy the music, partying in an African way.
Uitstekend, die ernst in die einde het ek gedink, het ek dit nou reg? Ek staan hier in New Morning Theater.
Ja.
Waar al die groot geeste my vooraf gegaan het en die mense is besig om te dans.
Ek weet.
Hulle hou nie op nie. Hulle wil ons eintlik net die hele tyd daar hê. En buitekant is 'n ry. Ek moet net teken en almal sê, "O, dis lekker." Wat meisies vir my hulle sê, ek het hulle gemove.
Ons kon nie gevra het vir 'n beter afskop nie in Parys. Jy weet, hulle sê if it didn't happen in Paris, it didn't happen in France. So dis hoekom ons hier begin het.
Ek is nou 50 en ewe skielik gebeur hierdie ding. Mens gee so half moed op. Jy doen wat jy doen. Jy wonder of jy dit moet aanhou doen. En dan ewe skielik op 50 gebeur hierdie groot ding wat ek bedoel nou gaan die serie versprei word in Frankryk. Wie sou nou kon dink, kon droom?
Kroeg was eenmaal op reis in Wes-Afrika. En terwyl sy in 'n skommelende trein sit, sien sy 'n babatjie wat op haar ma se rug vasgemaak is. En toe skryf sy 'n slaapliedjie. Sy sê die babatjie moet luister na die wind en die water en die reën en vashou teen alles in.
Afrique should also speak to the future, and with people like Désir as part of the mix, you know, she's the future. She embodies the future.
Sakina ebisiyo kunalinga kaililina yo ni bosona mona yo Mapataiza como nangai Mapatae being amoureuse Pica utsana butsama Na mi vana n'emotion ya boningotse Nicolona yona komikuye kunda bashtuya sika Nicolona yo mongoranga komi ya bebe
Lorinda has a 12, 13-year-old daughter. She's an African. You know, she'll be here. Skulk has 2 babies, you know, small kids, 3 years old and a baby boy of not even a year. They're Africans. So this production, the coming together of these people, it's about the future as well.
There is a song where I'm lying on a bench and everything. I will love that song, and in the song it's very sentimental. That's the Africa part that we want to translate to the outside world. It's the whatever happens in Africa, whatever critical situations we have, it's the soul that people need to cherish, you know, need to embrace.
The music is not about listening to the language. The music is our melodies. It's entering inside you, how you feel about that music. Whatever you don't listen, you can even move, just make movement, you know. This music is like this.
From a poetry, from nature, and then we bring it to the music. It's very, very rich in culture.
Wat vir my fantasties was, hoe hierdie verskillende tale wat so dikwels misgekyk word as moontlike vennote in Afrika, Afrika-tale, hoe hulle by mekaar kan aanpas en 'n nuwe dinamiek veroorsaak.
This is my song, Malako.
Malako se liedjie.
Thank you.
For me, if this album and the production can actually open people's experience worlds, that will be great. Because I think as South Africans and white South Africans in particular, we need to reconnect with the continent. We need to realize that we are part of this continent.
It's a great story to tell, and I think it's something that a lot of people will relate to. I really hope that we can keep this unit together for quite some time and show it to the rest of the world.
Yeah, this music don't have border, man. So we're trying to make something to happen, and something happened.
It's not about translating stuff. It's about creating a new understanding, about breaking down boundaries, about reinterpreting, you know, and also finding and exploring the similarities.
Die wonderwerk dat as mens op die verhoog saamkom, dan maak mens saam musiek. Dan verdwyn al die dinge en iets moois kom daai.
Voici venue l'heure des récriminations. Voici venue